The coffee machine was dying again, making that grinding sound like a garbage disposal eating glass. 3 in the morning, and here I was, Gray Merrickson, 52 years old and playing surgeon to a $20 appliance while my wife's phone buzzed incessantly on the kitchen counter. The irony wasn't lost on me. I could debug million-dollar banking systems, but I couldn't keep a coffee maker alive for more than 6 months. Shiloh had left her laptop open again, the blue glow casting shadows across our pristine granite countertops. Everything in our house was pristine and cold, like a showroom nobody actually lived in. She was obsessed with appearances, always posting photos of our perfect life on social media. If only her followers knew she couldn't even remember to close her laptop properly. That's when I saw it. A file notification popped up on my screen. She'd accidentally shared something to our joint cloud storage. Meeting schedule, private. My finger hovered over the trackpad. 23 years of marriage, and I'd never been the snooping type. But something about the way she'd been acting lately, all those mentorship sessions and personal development workshops, made me click. The spreadsheet opened like a punch to the gut. Tuesday, 2 p.m. Morren. Private session. Business, hotel room 237. Thursday, 3 p.m. Harlex. Private session. Business hotel room 315. Sunday, 1 p.m. Both, extended session. Business hotel suite 420. Notes column. R prefers afternoon. L needs ego stroking. Both together. Maximum impact for my goals. I stared at the screen, my coffee growing cold in my hands. 23 years. 2 kids we'd put through college. A mortgage we'd paid off together. And she was scheduling her affairs like dental appointments. The worst part? She was organized about it. Color-coded even. Tuesdays were blue for Rain, Thursdays were green for Lane, Sundays were red for both. My wife, the marketing executive, had turned adultery into a project management exercise. I scrolled down, 6 months of entries, detailed notes about what each man liked, what they discussed, what they planned. Morren, I knew that name. He ran those sleazy business mentorship seminars downtown, the kind that promised to make you rich in 30 days, drove a white Tesla with vanity plates that read Success. Harlex was newer to me, but a quick Google search revealed a life coach with abs and an Instagram account full of motivational quotes over sunset photos. My phone buzzed. A text from Shiloh. Working late again, don't wait up, love you. It was Thursday. According to her schedule, she was with Lane right now. I closed the laptop and walked to our bedroom. Shiloh's side of the closet told the story I'd been too blind to read. New lingerie with tags still on. Perfume I'd never smelled on her. A burner phone hidden behind her shoeboxes. The burner phone. Jesus. I turned it on. Messages from R and L going back months. Photos I wish I'd never seen. Videos that made my stomach turn. My wife of 23 years performing for these men like some desperate teenager. But what really got to me were the messages about me. Gray's so clueless. Still thinks I'm at book club. He's gotten so boring. Just works and sleeps. I need real men in my life. You both make me feel alive again. I sat on our bed, my bed, I realized, and felt something fade inside me. Not love. That had been dying slowly for years. What faded was the part of me that still believed in trying, in fighting for something that was already gone. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I planned. By morning, I transferred every joint account into my name only, canceled every shared credit card, changed the passwords on all our streaming services, utilities, insurance policies. 23 years of shared financial life, undone in 6 hours of methodical clicking. I packed a single suitcase and left it in my car. Then I cleaned the house until it sparkled, did 3 loads of laundry, and restocked the refrigerator. If Shiloh wanted to play games, she'd come home to a house so perfect it would make her skin crawl. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Gone fishing. Back when I catch something worth keeping. The last thing I did was change our smart home system passwords. Every thermostat, security camera, door lock, and garage door opener was now under my control. Call it petty, but I wanted to watch the show. The apartment I rented was a furnished studio above a used bookstore downtown. Nothing like our suburban palace, but it had character. More importantly, it had neighbors who minded their own business and a landlord who preferred cash. Cleo Martinez found me there on my second night, nursing a beer and watching my phone light up with Shiloh's increasingly frantic calls. "Heard you finally grew a pair," she said, settling into the chair across from me. Cleo and I went back 15 years to when she was the best cybersecurity consultant in the city, and I was just another programmer trying to keep bank systems from getting hacked. These days, she tended bar at the Blue Heron and collected gossip like other people collected stamps. "News travels fast," I said. "Faster when the news involves Shiloh Ravelin Merrickson having a very public meltdown at the Marriott downtown." Cleo's smile was sharp as a blade. "Seems her credit cards all got declined while she was trying to impress her boy toys with an expensive dinner." I'd watched it happen through the restaurant's security cameras. Amazing what you can access when you know the right back doors. Shiloh's face when the waiter returned with her platinum card, cut in half. Rain Morren's expression when he realized he'd have to pay. Lane Harlex actually getting up and walking away, leaving them both at the table. "She's been calling me for 2 days straight," I said. "Texting, emailing, even tried to get into the house. Changed the locks this morning. What's the plan, Gray?" I looked at Cleo. She was one of the few people who knew me before I became Mr. Shiloh Ravelin's boring husband, back when I rode a motorcycle and didn't apologize for taking up space in the world. "I'm going to remind some people that actions have consequences," I said. My phone buzzed. Another text from Shiloh. "We need to talk. This is insane. Come home." I showed Cleo the message. She snorted. "Home? That's rich. Where was home when she was scheduling dick appointments?" "Actually," I said, pulling out the burner phone I'd taken from our bedroom, she called them private sessions. Very professional. Cleo's eyes lit up as I showed her the messages, the photos, the videos. Holy shit, Gray. She documented everything. It's like she wanted to get caught. Or she never thought I was smart enough to find out. So what's the play? I finished my beer and stood up. Ever hear of the Streisand effect, Cleo? When trying to hide something just makes it more public? Exactly. Shiloh spent 20 years building her reputation as the perfect wife, the successful businesswoman, the social media darling. She's got 15,000 followers who think she's living the dream. And? I'm going to help her go viral. The next morning, I drove to Shiloh's office building. Meridian Marketing occupied 3 floors of a glass tower downtown, and Shiloh was their star VP. Her assistant, Nia Patel, had always liked me better than her boss. Young, sharp, and tired of being treated like Shiloh's personal servant. "Mr. Merrickson?" Nia looked surprised to see me. "Shiloh's not in yet. She's been having some difficulties this week." "Actually, I came to see you," I said. "I need a favor." Nia glanced around the empty reception area and leaned forward. "Is it true? About the credit cards and the hotel thing?" "Where did you hear that?" "Gina Westbrook was at the Marriott Tuesday night. She saw everything." Nia's voice dropped to a whisper. "She's been telling everyone that Shiloh was with 2 men and couldn't pay the bill." Gina Westbrook. Shiloh's biggest rival at the company. A ice-cold blonde who'd been gunning for Shiloh's position for years. This was getting better by the minute. "Nia, how much do you know about Shiloh's expense reports?" The young woman's face darkened. "You mean the business development retreats she's been billing to the company? The ones where she disappears for weekends with her mentors?" I pulled out an envelope I'd prepared. "Everything you need is in here. Bank records, hotel receipts, credit card statements. Turns out those mentorship sessions weren't exactly business-related." Nia opened the envelope and her eyes widened. "She's been using company funds for..." For this? $37,000 over 6 months, I said. All documented, all traceable. Why are you giving me this? Because you're smart, you're ambitious, and you deserve better than fetching coffee for someone who thinks you're invisible. I stood to leave. What you do with that information is up to you. As I walked toward the elevator, I heard Nia's phone ringing, probably calling Gina Westbrook. Sometimes revenge is just about putting the right information in the right hands and letting human nature do the rest. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Rain. We need to talk. Meet me at the Blue Heron tonight. 8 p.m. I texted back, Who is this? Don't play games. Your wife told me everything. We can work this out. I smiled. Shiloh had apparently decided to bring in reinforcements. This was going to be fun. The Blue Heron was exactly the kind of dive bar that attracted tech workers and wannabe entrepreneurs. Dark wood, exposed brick, craft beer that cost too much, and the kind of crowd that thought they were smarter than everyone else. Perfect territory for a confrontation with Rain Morren. He was easy to spot, the only guy in a $500 suit trying to look casual while nursing a whiskey neat. His Tesla was parked right outside, because of course it was. The vanity plates gleamed under the streetlights. Success. Gray Merrickson, he said as I approached his table. We need to discuss your wife. My wife? I sat down across from him. I wasn't aware she was still my wife. Haven't seen her since she started scheduling her social calendar around your availability. Rain's face tightened. He was younger than me, maybe 41, with the kind of fake tan and perfect teeth that screamed motivational speaker. His business card, which he'd placed prominently on the table, read, Rain Morren, Success Architect. Look, what happened between Shiloh and me was just business, he said. I provide mentorship services to ambitious professionals, nothing more. Mentorship services. I pulled out the burner phone and scrolled to one of his messages. Is that what you call this photo you sent her? Because I'd call it something else entirely. His tan went pale. Where did you get that? Your mentee left it at home. Very careless of her. I put the phone away. So what exactly did you want to discuss, Rain? Can I call you Rain? Or do you prefer Mr. Success? I want you to stop whatever you're doing to sabotage Shiloh's career. The company's investigating her expense reports. Her credit cards are frozen. Her social media accounts are being flooded with questions about her marriage. Sounds like someone's having a bad week. This affects me too, Rain snapped. My reputation. Your reputation? I laughed. You're a fake businessman who preys on lonely housewives and charges them for the privilege. What reputation? Rain stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. Several people turned to look at us. I'm trying to be reasonable here, Gray. But I have resources, connections. I can make your life very difficult. Sit down, Rain. Something in my voice made him hesitate. Maybe it was the 20 years I'd spent dealing with corporate bullies, or maybe it was the part of me that used to ride with bikers and didn't take shit from anyone. Either way, he sat. Here's what's going to happen, I said quietly. You're going to delete Shiloh's number from your phone. You're going to refund every penny she paid you for your fake mentorship program. And you're going to find a new business model that doesn't involve sleeping with other men's wives. You can't. I can. And I will. I leaned forward. See, Rain, I know things about you, like how your success architecture business is 3 months behind on rent, how your Tesla is leased under a shell company that's about to default, how your last girlfriend filed a restraining order against you in Phoenix. His face went white. How do you... I'm very good at finding information. It's what I do for a living. I stood up. Stay away from my wife, stay away from me, and maybe find a real job. As I walked toward the door, I heard him call after me. This isn't over, Gray. I turned back. The entire bar was watching now, including Cleo behind the bar and several people with their phones out. You're right, Rain. It's not over. It's just getting started. Outside, I walked past his Tesla and smiled. Phase 2 was about to begin. Breaking into Rain's car wasn't hard. The man was so obsessed with showing off his success that he'd never bothered with real security. A basic code scanner and 5 minutes was all it took to clone his key fob. Amazing what you can buy online these days. I waited until Thursday night. According to Shiloh's schedule, she was supposed to be with Lane Harlex, but I'd seen her trying to call Rain all week. Desperate times called for desperate measures, and she was nothing if not desperate. Sure enough, at 9 p.m., I watched through the hotel's parking garage security cameras as Shiloh met Rain outside the Marriott. They argued for 10 minutes, probably about money, judging by her gestures, before heading inside together. That's when I activated the little surprise I'd installed in his Tesla. The car's entertainment system came online, connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi, and began broadcasting live to a streaming platform I'd set up. Audio and video from inside the hotel room, courtesy of the phone I'd cloned from Lane's device. Turns out the life coach had been recording his sessions with Shiloh for weeks, but the real show was in the parking garage. At 10:30 p.m., Lane Harlex arrived for what he thought was his scheduled appointment. When he saw Rain's Tesla, he went ballistic. I watched from my apartment as Lane pounded on the hotel's glass doors, screaming about being double-crossed. Security tried to calm him down, but he was beyond reason. The man was clearly unhinged. All those steroids and motivational mantras had created a monster. When Shiloh and Rain finally came downstairs, they walked into a nightmare. Lane was waiting for them, surrounded by curious hotel guests and at least 3 people filming with their phones. "You lying snake!" Lane screamed at Shiloh. "You told me I was the only one!" Rain tried to step between them, but Lane was bigger and angrier. "And you!" He shoved Rain against his precious Tesla. "Stealing my client." "Your client?" Rain laughed. "She was paying me long before she met you, you steroid-addled moron." That's when Shiloh made her fatal mistake. Instead of trying to de-escalate, she went into full marketing mode. "Both of you need to calm down," she said, her voice carrying across the parking garage. "We're all adults here. We can work out a sharing arrangement." The silence that followed was deafening. Even Lane stopped yelling. Someone in the crowd whispered, "Did she just say sharing arrangement?" That's when the videos started going viral. By morning, Meng's sharing arrangement was trending on 3 social media platforms. The hotel parking garage confrontation had been viewed over 1 million times. Shiloh's carefully curated Instagram account was flooded with comments and questions. Her LinkedIn profile was being shared with laughing emojis. But the best part was yet to come. I was having coffee at a diner downtown when Nia called me. "Mr. Merrickson, you need to know what's happening here. It's insane." "Tell me." "Gina Westbrook called an emergency board meeting. She presented all the evidence you gave me, plus some stuff she found on her own. Shiloh's been fired." I felt a surge of satisfaction. "What about the expense report investigation?" "They're turning it over to the police. $37,000 in fraudulent charges. She could face criminal prosecution." Through the diner window, I could see people on their phones, probably watching the latest updates to Shiloh's viral humiliation. The local news had picked up the story. Marketing executive's affair goes viral after parking garage confrontation. "There's more," Nia continued. "Rain Morren's business license has been revoked. Turns out he's been operating without proper permits for 2 years. And Lane Harlex was arrested for assault last night." "Assault?" "He went after some reporter who was asking him questions about the video, punched him right in front of the courthouse. It's all over the news." I hung up and walked outside. My phone was buzzing with missed calls from Shiloh, but I ignored them. There was one more stop I needed to make. The house, my house, looked exactly as I'd left it. Pristine, perfect, empty. Shiloh's car was in the driveway, but she couldn't get inside. I'd changed all the locks and disabled her garage door remote. Through the security cameras, I could see her sitting on the front steps, crying. She looked up when she heard my car pull in. "Gray, thank God you're here. This is all a terrible misunderstanding. We can fix this. We can work it out." I walked past her to the front door. "Can we? How exactly do we work out 23 years of lies?" I made mistakes. I know that. But those men, they manipulated me. They took advantage of my vulnerability. I turned to look at her. Really look at her. The woman I'd married was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Someone who could schedule adultery like a business meeting and then claim to be the victim. "Your vulnerability?" I said. "Is that what you call it when you used company funds to pay for hotel rooms? When you documented everything like it was a project you were managing?" "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." I opened the front door. "I understand that you're a fraud, a liar, a thief, and now the whole world understands it too." "You did this!" she screamed. "You destroyed my life!" "No, Shiloh. I just turned on the lights." I packed my things while she waited outside. 23 years of marriage reduced to 3 suitcases and a box of photographs. Most of the photos were going in the trash anyway. Hard to look at family memories when you know they were built on lies. My phone rang. "Cleo." "You see the news?" she asked. "Which part?" "Rain Morren's been arrested. Tax evasion, fraud, operating without a license. Turns out your little investigation opened up a whole can of worms. The FBI's been looking for him for months." I smiled. Sometimes the universe has a sense of justice. "And Lane?" "Assault charges, plus his gyms being investigated for steroid distribution. Apparently your wife really knew how to pick them." Through the bedroom window, I could see Shiloh still sitting on the front steps. She was on her phone, probably trying to do damage control. Too little, too late. "Gray?" Cleo's voice was softer now. "You okay with all this?" Was I okay? My marriage was over. My wife was facing criminal charges. 2 men I'd never met were in jail because of information I'd provided. The internet was having a field day with my personal humiliation. But for the first time in years, I felt like myself again. "Yeah," I said. "I'm okay." "Good, because there's something else you should know. That streaming platform you set up, the one that broadcast their hotel room audio?" "What about it?" "It's made over $50,000 in donations. Apparently people really enjoyed the show." I laughed. Actually laughed. 50,000? 53,000 and counting. The chat was going crazy. People were sending money and messages of support. Team Gray was trending for 6 hours. I finished packing and carried my suitcases downstairs. Shiloh was still on the front steps, but now she was surrounded by reporters and camera crews. The story had grown beyond a simple adultery scandal. It was now a cautionary tale about social media, corporate fraud, and the dangers of living a fake life for public consumption. "Mr. Merrickson," a reporter spotted me coming out of the house. "Can you comment on your wife's arrest?" "My wife's what?" That's when I saw the police cars pulling up. 2 officers got out and walked toward Shiloh with handcuffs. "Shiloh Ravlin Merrickson, you're under arrest for embezzlement and fraud." The crowd of reporters pressed forward, cameras flashing. Shiloh looked at me with desperate eyes as they put her in the back of the police car. "Gray, please help me!" I stood on my front porch, watching my wife of 23 years being driven away in handcuffs, and felt absolutely nothing. One of the reporters approached me again. "Mr. Merrickson, how does it feel to see your wife arrested?" I looked at the camera, thinking about all the years I'd stayed quiet, all the times I'd swallowed my pride, all the nights I'd wondered what was wrong with me that my wife needed to find excitement elsewhere. "It feels like justice," I said. 6 months later, I was sitting in Cleo's bar reading the final update on Shiloh's case. 18 months in minimum security prison, plus restitution and community service. Rain Morren got 3 years for tax evasion and fraud. Lane Harlex was still fighting his assault charges, but his gym had closed and his life coaching business was finished. You ever think about what you'd do differently? Cleo asked, refilling my beer. You mean if I could go back? Yeah. I thought about it. Would I have confronted Shiloh directly? Tried marriage counseling? Fought for our relationship? No, I said finally. Some things can't be fixed. They can only be exposed. My phone buzzed with a notification. The streaming platform account was still generating revenue. Apparently, the story had been picked up by a true crime podcast and was getting new viewers every day. The total was now over $200,000. I donated most of it to a legal aid society that helped people going through messy divorces. Seemed appropriate. So what's next for Gray Merrickson? Cleo asked. I looked around the bar. It was busy tonight, filled with the usual mix of tech workers, entrepreneurs, and people trying to reinvent themselves. A year ago, I would have been home by now, pretending to watch TV while Shiloh scheduled her next appointment. I'm thinking about buying a motorcycle, I said. Cleo grinned. Now that sounds like the Gray I remember. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer it, but something made me pick up. Gray? The voice was shaky, desperate. It's me, Shiloh. How did you get this number? I'm allowed one phone call a day. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. What do you want, Shiloh? I want to apologize. Really apologize. Not for the cameras or the lawyers or the judge, just to you. I waited. I know what I did was unforgivable. I know I destroyed everything we built together, but I need you to know that I loved you. I still love you. No, I said quietly. You loved the idea of me, the safe husband who wouldn't ask questions, the reliable income and the nice house and the respectable marriage you could post about on social media. You never loved me. That's not true. If you had loved me, you wouldn't have scheduled other men like business meetings. You wouldn't have used our money to pay for hotel rooms. You wouldn't have called me boring and clueless to your lovers. Silence on the other end. I read all the messages, Shiloh. Every text, every email, every photo. I know exactly what you thought of me. I was confused. I was going through something. You were going through two men on a regular schedule, I said. Don't try to make this about a midlife crisis or emotional problems. You made deliberate choices for months. You planned it, executed it, and documented it like a project. So that's it? 23 years and you just walk away? I looked around the bar, at Cleo wiping down glasses, at the people laughing and talking and living their messy, honest lives. I didn't walk away, Shiloh. You threw me away. I just stopped pretending it hadn't happened. I hung up and turned off my phone. Everything okay? Cleo asked. Everything's perfect, I said. And for the first time in years, I meant it. The next morning, I bought the motorcycle, a used Harley-Davidson, black and chrome and loud enough to wake anyone, the kind of bike that announced your presence and didn't apologize for taking up space. I rode it to the Blue Heron that night, parking it right out front where everyone could see. When I walked in, Cleo smiled and poured me a beer without being asked. Nice bike, she said. Thanks. Figured it was time to remember who I used to be. And who's that? I took a long drink and looked at myself in the mirror behind the bar. 52 years old, grayer than I'd been a year ago, but somehow younger too. The man looking back at me wasn't the boring husband who'd let his wife schedule adultery around his work meetings. This was someone who fought back, someone who didn't accept being treated like furniture. Someone who doesn't get taken for granted, I said. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Saw you on the news. Impressive work. If you ever want to do consulting, call me. J. Morrison. Morrison Investigations. I showed the message to Cleo. She whistled. Morrison Investigations? They're the biggest private detective agency in the state. Guess word gets around. You interested? I thought about it. Spending my days helping other people uncover the truth, exposing the lies that were destroying their lives, using my skills to give underdogs the weapons they needed to fight back. Yeah, I said. I think I am. 6 months later, Morrison Investigations had a new partner, Gray Merrickson, specialist in digital forensics and infidelity cases. My first client was a woman whose husband had been stealing from their joint accounts to fund a gambling addiction. My second was a man whose business partner was embezzling funds to support 3 different families. Both cases ended with the truth coming out and justice being served. It turns out I had a talent for revenge. More importantly, I had a talent for helping other people get their own revenge, legally and thoroughly, and without getting their hands dirty. The work was satisfying in a way my old job never had been. Every case was a puzzle to solve, a wrong to right, a bully to expose. And every victory reminded me that sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about making sure the truth comes to light. Shiloh served 14 months of her 18-month sentence. When she got out, she tried to contact me through my lawyer. She wanted to meet, to discuss our future. I had my lawyer send back a simple message. Mr. Merrickson has no interest in discussing the past or the future with you. Please direct all communication through legal channels. She tried twice more, then gave up. I heard through the gossip network that she'd moved to another state, changed her name, and was working as a receptionist at a dental office. Her social media accounts were gone. Her 15,000 followers had moved on to other people's drama. Morren was still in prison. Harlex had moved back in with his mother and was working at a sporting goods store. The viral videos were still online, still generating views and comments. Occasionally, someone would recognize me and want to buy me a drink or shake my hand. I'd become a minor internet folk hero, the wronged husband who'd gotten perfect revenge without throwing a punch or breaking any laws. But the real satisfaction wasn't in the fame or the money or the new career. It was in the knowledge that I'd stopped being a victim and started being someone who fought back. 1 year after Shiloh's arrest, I was sitting in my new office, reviewing a case file, when Cleo knocked on my door. "Got a minute?" she asked. "Always. What's up?" She sat down across from my desk and smiled. "I have a proposition for you." "I'm listening." "The Blue Heron's for sale. Owner wants to retire. I'm thinking about buying it, but I could use a partner. Someone with business sense and a talent for reading people." I leaned back in my chair. "You want me to go into the bar business?" "I want you to help me create a place where people can tell their stories, where the truth comes out over a few drinks and good conversation, where jerks like Morren get exposed and people like you get the support they need to fight back." I thought about it. The Blue Heron had been the place where my new life really began, where I'd confronted my wife's lover and started the chain of events that led to justice. What would we call it? Cleo grinned. "How about the last call? As in the last call for bullshit." I laughed and stood up to shake her hand. "Partner, you've got yourself a deal." 2 months later, we reopened the last call with a new motto painted on the wall: "Where truth comes to light." It became the most popular bar in the city, a place where people came to celebrate victories, plan strategies, and occasionally watch their enemies get what they deserved. And every night, when I locked up and rode my Harley home to my apartment, I remembered the lesson I'd learned from my marriage. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about building a life so good that their absence becomes a gift. Shiloh had given me that gift without meaning to. By betraying me so thoroughly, so documentedly, so publicly, she'd forced me to remember who I really was underneath 23 years of being taken for granted. I was someone who fought back, someone who didn't accept being treated like furniture, someone who turned pain into power and humiliation into justice, someone who'd learned that the best revenge is living well and helping others do the same.